Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden has delivered his annual address. It's called the State of the Union. The president addresses a joint session of the US Congress. The Congress is America's legislature, like their parliament. It has two houses, the Senate or the upper house, and the House of Representatives or the lower house. The president addresses both, and he does it every year. It's a chance for him to talk about progress and plans, what's been achieved in the year gone by, the progress, and what's planned for the year ahead. The phrase State of the Union is self-explanatory. The United States is a union, and today Joe Biden declared that the State of the Union is strong. Listen in.
So I've come to fulfill my constitutional obligation to report in the State of the Union. And here's my report. Because the soul of this nation is strong, because the backbone of this nation is strong, because the people of this nation are strong, the State of the Union is strong.
Quite a thundering applause there. Joe Biden outperformed himself. He knows he faces a tough election next year. Americans are not particularly inclined to vote him back to power, and the White House knows this. So Biden needed to put up an A game during his State of the Union address. The Republicans heckled him. The president went off script. He sparred with them, all during the address. Well, he can spar with the opposition all he likes, but how will he convince the voters? 65% of Americans believe their country is on the wrong track. These are the findings of the latest Reuters Ipsos poll. 65% are not happy with the trajectory. Last year, this number was 58%. What about Biden's personal approval rating? Just 41%. That may not be enough for him to win the presidency again. His political fate will be decided by the American middle class, so he reached out to them today to allay their fears.
Under my plans, as long as I'm president, nobody earning less than $400,000 will pay an additional penny in taxes. Nobody, not one penny. But let's finish the job. There's more to do.
The tax carrot. It always works, or so the politicians of the world think. Biden also spent a lot of money on Ukraine last year, and he plans to spend more. The United States is Ukraine's largest financial and military donor, more than $50 billion and counting. Here's what Biden said about Russian President Putin.
I spoke from this chamber 1 year ago, just days after Vladimir Putin unleashed his brutal attack against Ukraine. A murderous assault, evoking images of death and destruction Europe suffered in World War II. Putin's invasion has been a test for the ages, a test for America, a test for the world. Would we stand for the most basic of principles? Would we stand for sovereignty? Would we stand for the right of people to live free of tyranny? Would we stand for the defense of democracy?
What about China's aggression? Has Biden proven that he is not weak on China? Remember, that was a charge against him. Listen to what he said today.
I'm committed to work with China where we can advance American interests and benefit the world, but make no mistake about it. As we made clear last week, if China threatens our sovereignty, we will act to protect our country, and we did. Look, let's be clear. Winning the competition should unite all of us. We face serious challenges across the world. But in the past 2 years, democracies have become stronger, not weaker. Autocracies have grown weaker, not stronger. Name me a world leader who changed places with Xi Jinping. Name me one. Name me one.
Now, that was quite a spirited takedown of China, and it earned Joe Biden bipartisan applause. But the president was booed too. That's when he accused the Republicans of trying to do away with Medicare and Social Security. All in all, a 72-minute-long speech, lots of issues covered. He took on big oil and big tech. He tried to shame Republicans for not allowing him to raise the debt ceiling. He vowed to veto any national abortion ban. He also called for a total ban on assault weapons, on guns. It makes for a good speech, but it makes no difference on the ground. Calling for a ban is not enough when gun terror continues in the US. He's the president, for God's sake. He cannot always plead helplessness. He claimed to have created a record 12 million jobs in 2 years, something that no other president has done even in 4 years. Biden said the economy is recovering, that inflation is going down. But some of these claims are misleading, if not outright lies. Take the economy, for instance. The US has hit its debt ceiling, $31.4 trillion. That's how much debt they've had. If the Congress does not raise the ceiling, America will face a default. What is Biden's solution? Raise the ceiling. Not to cut down the debt. It's a temporary remedy, and it's not really a solution. Then there's inflation. It has come down to 6.5%. You know what America's target is? 2%. And the Biden administration has no clue how to get there. It tried to control energy prices. In the process, they ended up severely depleting America's strategic petroleum reserve. When Biden took office, the US had 638 million barrels of oil. Last year, it came down to less than 400 million barrels, the lowest in 4 decades. And there's no controlling guns. He keeps passing the buck to the Congress. We've said enough and more about this in the past. The gun terror in the US. The president has failed on immigration too. He hasn't been able to secure American borders. He deputed Kamala Harris to deal with this. She's struggling. Police brutality is hitting new lows. Racism remains a burning issue in the US. It should have no place in today's world, let alone the so-called first world. And we haven't even begun with his foreign policy failures. Balloon fights with China, war with Russia, no nuclear deal with Iran, snubbed by the Arabs. This is the State of the Union. Biden may describe it as strong, but the world sees it for what it is, a mess.